Welcome back to Jameel Cast, where we explore ideas and innovations shaping the future of our world. Join us as we uncover perspectives and insights at the intersection of purpose and progress, featuring voices from across Abdul Latif Jameel's international network of businesses. This is Alex, your AI host. Today we're talking about something most of us don't give much thought to once we upgrade our tech: electronic waste, or eWaste. It's all those old phones, laptops, chargers, televisions, and even washing machines that end up gathering dust or being tossed away. Now, the numbers behind this are staggering. The world produced around 62 million tons of e-waste in 2022. That's a record equivalent to 7.8 kilograms per person. This includes everything from the metals in your microwave to the plastic casing of your old TV. And here's the part that astonished me. Less than 1/4 of it was properly recycled. To help us unpack what's really going on and how we might start turning this around, I'm joined by two guests to understand global sustainability challenges. Sophie and Jade, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks, Alex. It's great to be here. Happy to be here as well. This is such an important discussion.
Sophie, let's start with the big picture. When people hear e-waste, it sounds like something abstract. But how serious is the problem globally?
It's huge, Alex. Those 62 million tons you mentioned include about 31 million tons of metals, 17 million tons of plastics, and the rest made up of glass, ceramics, and other materials. It's not just phones and tablets. It's everything from massive fridges and air conditioners down to electric toothbrushes. And that is a number that analysts project could reach 82 million metric tons by 2030.
That's incredible. And out of all that, only about 22% gets properly collected or recycled, right?
Exactly. The amount of e-waste is growing about 5 times faster than the rate at which it is recycled. The rest often ends up in landfill, stored in people's homes, or exported to other countries where proper recycling systems just don't exist. And that's where the real issue starts. The e-waste that isn't managed properly often gets dumped or burned. It releases toxic substances like lead and mercury, which contaminate soil and water.
So this isn't just a waste management issue, it's a public health one too.
Absolutely. What's worrying is that the people exposed most directly to this e-waste, which often contains toxins like heavy metals, are often children and women working in informal recycling sectors in low-income countries. They're dismantling devices by hand, breathing in fumes, or washing circuit boards in acid without protective gear. And meanwhile, valuable materials like gold, copper, and iron are being lost. In 2022 alone, roughly $91 billion worth of metals were literally thrown away inside that global e-waste mountain.
That's astonishing. So we're not just harming the planet, we're also throwing away a fortune.
Well, it's both an environmental disaster and potentially a major missed economic opportunity.
So let's talk about what actually happens once these devices are thrown out, because it's not like they just disappear when we replace them. Where does most of this e-waste actually go?
That's the critical question, Alex. A large portion ends up in developing countries, especially across Africa and Asia. What's happening is that e-waste generated in wealthier regions, like Europe, the United States, and parts of East Asia, is often exported to emerging economies. In 2022, more than 5 million tons of e-waste was shipped across international borders, and about 65% of that wasn't even documented properly.
So we're basically shifting the problem rather than solving it.
Precisely. And because these countries often lack the infrastructure for proper recycling, the waste ends up being dismantled manually or burned in open air. It's common to see piles of old circuit boards, wires, and batteries being handled in unsafe conditions. In many cases, children and women are part of this informal workforce. They strip wires for copper or melt plastics to recover tiny amounts of metal. The smoke from burning plastics releases dioxins and heavy metals into the air. And when it rains, potentially, those toxins may seep into soil and water sources.
It's heartbreaking. And all of this is happening just so a few components can be salvaged.
That's right. The International Labour Organization estimates that around 18 million children and 13 million women are exposed to dangerous conditions through e-waste recycling every year. And remember, These are often communities already struggling economically.
So the poorest people in the world are dealing with the consequences of the richest country's consumption.
That's the top-line reality. In many African nations, for example, there's still little or no formal e-waste legislation. Out of 54 countries on the continent, only 11 have e-waste policies, and just 2 have official collection targets.
Wow, that's a tiny fraction.
Yes, though some progress is being made. In Ghana, for instance, manufacturers now pay an eco-levy that funds new recycling centres. Nigeria has a register of electronics producers who contribute fees based on their market share. And those funds go directly into collection and processing systems. Tunisia and Egypt are doing similar things. Egypt's Ministry of Environment has started funding new e-waste facilities built to international standards. And in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, an NGO called the Benelux Afro Center has already recycled over 140,000 kilograms of discarded electronics.
That's encouraging. It shows that with the right systems, this can be done safely.
But the issue here is scale. These programs are still small compared to the sheer amount of waste being generated. Asia is in a similar position. The continent imports nearly 3 million tons of e-waste annually. Again, 2/3 undocumented. Countries like China, Japan, and Taiwan are beginning to take stronger action, though.
What kind of measures are we talking about?
In China, which generates 12 billion tons of e-waste domestically before imports, a raft of new laws, including the Circular Economy Promotion Law and Solid Waste Law, are pushing for responsible recycling. Taiwan has a Recycling Fund Management Act that sets clear targets, and around 31.4% of e-waste in Taiwan is now collected by formally approved schemes. Japan's Home Appliance Recycling Law aims for 70% recycling rates by 2025. Even Singapore has made repair and reuse a national policy focus. They're promoting refurbishment instead of replacement, which helps build a culture of sustainability. It is targeting a 30% recycling rate of internal e-waste by 2030.
So progress is being made, but unevenly. Some regions are moving ahead while others are just starting the conversation.
That's the key issue, and without consistent global standards, the overall picture remains patchy.
You know, Sophie, listening to all that makes me think about something you mentioned earlier, the actual value inside these discarded electronics, because this isn't just about waste, is it? There's serious money being lost here.
That's correct, Alex. E-waste is often called urban mining for a reason. The metals and minerals inside it are incredibly valuable. In that 2022 figure alone, the world threw away an estimated $91 billion worth of materials. That includes about $19 billion in copper, $16 billion in iron, and $15 billion in gold, all locked inside devices that ended up in landfills or scrapyards. And those materials aren't just valuable in a financial sense. Reusing them has a massive environmental benefit. Every kilogram of metal recovered from old electronics means less need for new mining. And that reduces deforestation, water contamination, and carbon emissions linked to mineral extraction.
So, recycling isn't just about waste management. It's a form of resource conservation.
That's the idea. It's estimated that proper e-waste recovery avoids the extraction of almost 900 million tons of fresh ore every year. That's an enormous environmental saving. But despite all that potential, we're only reclaiming a small fraction of what's possible. And as global demand for electronics grows, the imbalance is getting worse. The number of new electronic and electrical products entering the market has climbed from 96 million tons in 2022 to a projected 120 million tons by 2030. That's a 25% increase in less than a decade.
Which means even if recycling rates stay steady, the absolute amount of waste still goes up.
The challenge is that recycling rates aren't staying steady. They're falling. Analysts expect global e-waste recycling to drop from 22.3% in 2022 to around 20% by 2030.
That's heading in the wrong direction. Why do you think that is?
Part of it is just the pace of consumption. We're producing and buying new devices faster than recycling systems can adapt. But there's also a design problem. Many devices are made in ways that make them extremely difficult to dismantle. Batteries glued in, parts fused together. It's expensive and time-consuming to separate the materials safely. And manufacturers aren't always incentivized to make things easier to recycle. Once a product leaves the shop floor, it's someone else's problem. That's why extended producer responsibility, or EPR, is becoming such an important policy tool.
Right, EPR. That's where the manufacturer remains responsible for what happens to their product at the end of its life, isn't it?
Under EPR, companies either manage recycling themselves or fund collection and reprocessing systems. It changes the mindset from make and forget to make and recover.
And the idea ties in closely with another movement, the right to repair. That's about making it easier for consumers to fix products rather than replace them. If something breaks, you should be able to repair it affordably, without voiding warranties or needing proprietary tools.
Which sounds simple, but for most people it isn't.
I think that's where policymakers are starting to step in. The European Union, for example, has introduced laws under its Waste from Electrical and Electronic Equipment Directive, often called the WE Rules, to promote repair, reuse, and recycling. They also discourage illegal exports of e-waste by requiring transparent product tracking. The EU's new eco-design for sustainable products regulation even includes something called a digital product passport. It's like a detailed ID card for every device, showing its materials, repair instructions, and recyclability, that makes it easier for consumers and recyclers to make informed decisions.
That's fascinating. And it sounds like policy is finally starting to catch up to the problem.
In parts of the United States, too, individual states have introduced their own e-waste and packaging responsibility laws. Some of them include fines of up to $1 million per violation for manufacturers that don't comply.
So clearly, we're seeing momentum. But let's be honest, this is still a global challenge, right?
Absolutely. Out of nearly 200 countries worldwide, fewer than half have any formal e-waste policy at all, and many of those don't set clear collection or repair targets. Without global coordination, we're solving the problem in fragments.
So we've got the scale of the problem, the human cost, and now the lost economic opportunity. I guess the next question is whether technology itself can help us reverse some of the damage.
That's a great way to put it, because while technology is part of the problem, it might also be part of the solution.
Technology does play a pivotal role both ways, doesn't it? With advances in AI, do you think it is something that can help us get a handle on the e-waste problem?
Definitely. Technology is starting to play a crucial role, especially AI and automation. One of the most promising developments is the use of AI-powered sorting systems. These machines use cameras and machine learning to identify materials on recycling lines with incredible precision. Up to 99% accuracy, that means less contamination, faster sorting, and higher recovery rates.
And the improvement in efficiency is impressive. Some facilities are reporting productivity boosts of around 50% compared to traditional methods. When you consider the massive scale of waste processing globally, that's a huge step forward.
So we're talking about machines that can recognize a circuit board or a plastic casing just by analyzing it visually and then separate it automatically.
Not only that, it goes further. They can now distinguish metals from plastics and even different grades of materials. Things that would normally take humans much longer and involve more risk.
Then there's chemical recycling, which breaks down mixed materials into their base components. For instance, it can separate plastics that were once considered non-recyclable. That could help reduce the amount of new plastic we need to produce from fossil fuels.
And for metals, there's bioleaching, a fascinating process that uses bacteria to extract precious metals from e-waste. It's cleaner, safer, and often more cost-effective than traditional smelting. You could say it's turning biology into a recycling partner.
That's incredible. But technology like that must take serious investment to scale, right?
It does. Many of these technologies are still in pilot stages. What's needed is more public-private partnership, governments providing the regulatory framework and funding, while private companies innovate and expand capacity.
We're also seeing the Internet of Things, or IoT, being used to track e-waste from collection to recycling. Each item can be tagged and traced, ensuring accountability all the way through the supply chain. That could eliminate a lot of the undocumented exports we talked about earlier.
So we could essentially follow a discarded laptop all the way from a recycling bin in London to a reprocessing plant in, say, Belgium, and verify that it's being handled properly.
Not only that, it builds transparency and helps enforce international rules. And then there's predictive AI, which can analyze data from manufacturers and consumers to predict when products are likely to fail or be replaced.
That's key for designing circular systems, planning ahead so materials can be recovered before they're wasted. Imagine your phone manufacturer knowing which components will reach end of life next year and already having a recycling loop prepared for them.
So the same AI that's driving innovation in consumer tech could also help make that innovation more sustainable.
Yes, and it's already happening. Some global tech companies are experimenting with modular product design, devices built so you can easily replace individual parts rather than throwing away the whole unit.
Then there's companies like Fairphone and Framework are pioneers here. Their smartphones and laptops can be upgraded piece by piece, which extends the life of each device dramatically. It's a practical example of the right to repair in action.
That's a huge mindset shift from buy new to build to last.
And AI can make that transition smoother by optimizing supply chains for reused and recycled materials. There are even pilot projects exploring blockchain-based systems to track materials through every stage, from manufacture to end of life. It's like creating a transparent, traceable record for every product.
So between AI, IoT, and blockchain, we might actually be developing the digital tools to support a real circular economy.
I think they all coexist in an ecosystem, and when you combine that with education and policy alignment, you start creating a system that works on multiple levels: smarter technology, smarter governance, and smarter consumer behavior.
It sounds like we're on the cusp of something transformative, if we can just connect all those dots.
That's right. But the transition needs to happen fast. The global e-waste total is projected to reach 82 million tons by 2030. And if our recycling systems don't evolve quickly, we'll keep falling behind.
The good news is, momentum is building. Both the public and private sectors are recognizing that e-waste isn't just a sustainability challenge, it's a business opportunity. Efficient recycling can create jobs, recover valuable resources, and reduce environmental impact all at once.
That's a great point. We often think of environmental policy as a cost, but in this case, it's also a massive economic opportunity.
Here's the interesting part. The global e-waste management market is expected to reach $49 billion by 2030, and new technologies are attracting investment every year.
If we build scalable recycling systems powered by AI, we can make sustainability profitable. And that's when real change happens.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from the scale of the problem to the technology that could help fix it. But if we zoom out for a moment, what's the bigger picture here? How do we actually turn awareness into real, measurable progress?
I think it starts with mindset, Alex. We need to stop thinking of e-waste as rubbish and start viewing it as a resource cycle. Every piece of discarded tech contains valuable materials that can be recovered. Once governments, companies, and consumers all recognize that, behavior begins to change.
That's right, Sophie. To make that shift practical, we need stronger frameworks. Policies like extended producer responsibility and the right to repair aren't just bureaucratic tools. They create accountability. When manufacturers are required to plan for the full life of their products, you suddenly have better design, longer-lasting goods, and proper end-of-life systems.
So in a sense, legislation sets the boundaries, but innovation fills the space within them.
That's a great way to put it. And we're starting to see that balance emerge. In Europe, for instance, the digital product passport system could become a model for the rest of the world. A transparent, data-driven approach to circular production.
And it's not just about Europe. In Asia and Africa, local initiatives are proving that progress doesn't have to wait for perfect systems. Ghana's eco-levy, Singapore's nationwide repair programs, Egypt's government-backed recycling facilities. These are practical examples that others can replicate and scale.
That's encouraging, because sometimes it feels like these global issues are too big for any single country to tackle.
True, but collaboration changes that. When countries share data, technology, and funding, they create momentum. The updated Basel Convention and new discussions around a global circular economy treaty are promising signs that the world is moving in that direction.
And let's not forget the role of education. We can have all the policies and technology in place, but if people don't know why recycling matters or how to do it safely, we'll never reach the scale we need. Schools, businesses, and media platforms can all help raise awareness and make e-waste part of everyday environmental conversations.
That's such an important point. This isn't just about governments or corporations. It's about individuals too. What can ordinary listeners actually do right now?
A few simple things make a real difference. First, use your devices longer. Stretching a phone's life by just 1 year reduces its overall environmental impact by about 30%. Second, repair instead of replace. Look for manufacturers that offer spare parts or official repair schemes. And third, recycle responsibly. Don't throw electronics in household bins. Take them to certified collection centres.
And if your old device still works, consider donating it. Many community organizations, especially schools and digital access charities, refurbish older equipment for people who need it. It extends the product's life and bridges the digital divide at the same time.
That's a great reminder. Sustainability isn't only about reducing harm, it's also about creating opportunity.
Exactly. And if we zoom back out, the overall goal is a true circular economy. One where design, production, use, and recovery are all connected. Nothing is wasted. Everything has value.
And that's where AI can keep playing a vital role, predicting material flows, optimizing logistics, and making recycling efficient at scale. It's the same intelligence driving innovation in other sectors, now being redirected towards sustainability.
So the tools we've built to advance technology can also help us clean up its consequences. There's a kind of symmetry in that.
There is, and it's hopeful, because it shows that technology and sustainability don't have to be opposing forces. They can actually reinforce each other.
You know, the challenge is ensuring that as technology evolves, responsibility evolves with it. If we can manage that balance, we'll not only solve e-waste, but create a model for tackling other global resource problems.
That's a powerful way to end, Sophie, Jade. Thank you both for such an insightful conversation. It's clear that solving the e-waste problem isn't just about better recycling, it's about smarter design, stronger policy, and more conscious consumption.
Thank you, Alex. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having us. And hopefully, for anyone listening, this sparks some new ideas about how everyday choices can make a difference.
Well said. And to everyone tuning in, remember, the technology you hold in your hand today doesn't have to end up as tomorrow's waste. With the right mindset and systems, it can become part of a much smarter, cleaner future. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. You've been listening to Jameel Cast, the official podcast of Abdul Latif Jameel. For more insights and conversations shaping our future, follow us wherever you get your podcasts or visit alj.com to read our Perspectives articles. Thank you for joining us, and until next time, stay curious.